Thank you very much for joining us. Lukashenko with some very direct messages sent to the Belarus people today. It seems like his grip on power is perhaps slowly slipping away.
Yes, I think that's fair to say that. There does seem to be a shift in the momentum against Lukashenko at the moment. The fact that the demonstrations at the weekend were so big, perhaps as many as 220,000 in Minsk alone on Sunday, which would be a record for any demonstration in Belarus since the collapse of the Soviet Union, and demonstrations taking place in other cities across the country as well. Given that, plus the fact, and I think this is critical, that workers are beginning to join this movement, so it's not a white-collar protest anymore. This is the working class of Belarus beginning to gather around the demand for Lukashenko to go. That's the working class, the blue-collar workers of Belarus that have been the bedrock of his support up until now. If he really is losing control of them, their support, if this call for a general strike really does take place, and there are signs already that it's beginning to happen with workers not turning up at the main tractor factory, the military vehicles factory, oil refineries and so on, plus the fact that state TV workers are on strike now. And we even seen one diplomat, the Belarusian ambassador to Slovakia, giving his support to the protests. It really does look as though things are beginning to swing against Lukashenko. And with that statement we got from Svetlana Tikhanovskaya, calling for new elections and the setting up of an intermediary coordination council to see new elections through, it does seem that the opposition are becoming more confident. On the other hand, don't expect Alexander Lukashenko to step down voluntarily. He's made that clear with that quote you had, "over my dead body," effectively, on the call for new elections. But interestingly, he did suggest that he was perhaps prepared to change the constitution and share power, but that's not going to buy it with the opposition.
And of course, Rob, despite this, with the backing of the Kremlin and the fact that Lukashenko is confident that he will receive support from Vladimir Putin, does that make the threats to his presidency a little bit trivial?
Well, I would be cautious about the extent of Russian support for Alexander Lukashenko at the moment. What the Kremlin said, what Putin said, was that in the event of Belarus being threatened from outside, Russia would be prepared to come to Belarus's aid. There is no external threat, except perhaps in the mind of Alexander Lukashenko, to Belarus at the moment. The Russians are watching this very carefully. That it is absolutely critical for them. They do not want to lose control of Belarus. They do not want Belarus to be sucked into NATO's orbit, into the orbit of the European Union. On the other hand, they also recognize that the mood of the crowd, of the opposition, is not anti-Russian. So that does pose a bit of a dilemma for Vladimir Putin. If he takes action to support Lukashenko, if there is intervention, military or otherwise, that could turn the mood of the demonstrations against Russia, which is exactly the opposite of what Russia needs. And any sort of intervention could be enormously costly, politically, economically, and in foreign policy terms for Russia. So Russia has to be extremely cautious. On the other hand, Putin is very concerned that if this should go ahead, if the opposition should be successful in getting rid of Lukashenko, there could be a knock-on effect in Russia. He doesn't want that either. So it's a real dilemma for Vladimir Putin.